Hi there, I'm still making videos. No one's stopped me yet, so here we are. Today I'm going to be taking you through the core basics of LARP combat. In addition, I'm going to be showing you how you can prepare for your LARP, all in all to show how you can be more safe. There won't be too much on how you can fight well, and there won't be too much on the specific different types of weapons. Say use a bow or pike or something like that. But I realised that there are way too many LARP weapons to do just in this video, and there are way too many variants on those different LARP weapons between like buffers and silicon weapons, and apparently many more. So yet again I've had to split this video into another part. I'm sorry about that. I promise you I will get this next video out as soon as possible. This is all here are going to be the general rules of what you should be doing to keep yourself safe and others safe while you LARP. Anyway, let's get into it. So you've come to your first LARP event and you're eager to get onto the battlefield with your sword and strike down as many opponents as you possibly can. But there are a few things you need to know. First of all, I want to make a point of where you can't hit. Almost all LARP systems will tell you not to hit in the down below area, because that hurts a lot. Additionally, they'll generally tell you to try and avoid the head. Some might, some not, so it's best to check with your LARP for that, specifically on what the rules are. For Empire, it's advised strongly not to aim there. If you do hit someone in the head, no cause and effect. The main reason why they have this rule in the case of that your head still counts is so that people can't use their head as a shield, while equally, well, they've also got the core thing to discourage people from actually aiming for the head. Besides, it's not really an effective place to strike. The arm's a lot more effective. If you cleave someone's arm, they can't attack. Don't hit the no-no zones while coming after you. The next one is something that a surprisingly large number of people are guilty of. Pull your blows. Don't hit people way too hard, because this and this do the exact same thing as that. It doesn't do anything to their attack. It doesn't do anything additional to them. It only causes them extra pain. Not only that, it takes longer. Don't be like that. Just hit someone with a nice tap. It's a good idea to practice your attacking if you've never actually gone into battle with a real person. Or if you do attend your LARP, just do some sparring with someone you know at the LARP before actually going into the battlefield, so that way you've got a better understanding of where to not hit and how hard you should be striking. It's good practice. There's also another point with LARP weapons. Don't thrust. A large number of people who come from HEMA and fencing and all these other medieval arts displays generally don't understand this rule because it doesn't apply to them as much with LARP weapons as it does with real swords. But with LARP weapons, if you jab it through, there's a middle core in this that can go straight through, and that can actually hurt people if you just thrust it straight forward. Additionally, it can damage your weapon. If you want to thrust towards someone, I'd recommend at least giving a curve. That way, when you strike, the thrust only hits this side part of the tip as opposed to the front part of the tip. As a result of hitting the side part of the tip, it has an effect of a slash. And that way is a lot more effective as well, because if you do need to defend someone's blow, you can always keep it at a point here. I use this quite a lot actually, it's quite effective. There is one exception to this no thrusting rule, however. That is specifically for those with pike weapons that are allowed to be thrusted. That means they have to be made in a specific way that is thrust safe. If you are unsure if your pike weapon is thrust safe, it probably isn't. Additionally, if you are unsure of anything that results in safety or has anything to do with another person's safety, don't risk it. When pulling your blows, it's also important to remember that you're not hitting through the other person, but you're hitting the person. That means once you get to the person, you want your sword to ideally be stopping at the person. The best way to practice this is to just put a few swings towards a solid object, something that makes a noise when you hit it. You want to be practicing to the point in which you can't hear the swing, but you are getting as close as you can. On the battlefield, you should be bringing one of these with you. I think I've said this in the other video, but I'm going to say it again because it's important and a lot of people don't listen. Bring water with you. It's hot. Very hot. Water is very important. If you do not drink water, you will be very, very sick. The battles are long, a lot longer than it feels on the battle. You are in the heat for a very long time, and you can't get water there because there aren't taps there. The only way you can get water there is if you bring the water with you. Bring water. If you have physically hurt yourself on the battlefield, to a point in which you feel that you need emergency medical aid, then call for a first aider. This call will send paramedics towards you and will get everyone kneeling down. If you hear someone yell first aider, or you see other people kneeling down, you should also kneel down. The reason why we kneel down is so that people can see clearly where the first aid help is needed, because they'll be the only people standing up or waving around screaming, so it's a lot easier to see the person. Especially on the chaos of a battlefield, just kneel down and stop fighting. If you need help on the battlefield and it's not real, let's say you've been poisoned by the enemy, don't call for first aid or for a medic. Call for a healer or a physic. LARP is an honour-based system, so if someone is fighting and they choose not to take their hits, don't fight them or yell at them, just go to a referee. If you have any serious issues with the battlefield, there'll be people there to help you. In Empire, there are people wearing tabards that looks kind of similar to mine. They aren't mine. I'll show you a quick picture here, right now. See this? See, there's a difference. They got like the checkers things, and they got radios. Okay, so people stop coming to me. I'm not a ref. I've just got the same colours. I promise. Go to a ref. They'll be able to help you. If you've got any questions regarding the battlefield, anything like that, just go up to them, ask them for help, and they'll be able to sort you out. If you do wear any armour, it's a good idea to practice putting it on and taking it off so you have an idea of what it feels like to wear that armour before you actually go into the battlefield. Trust me, it is very tiring to wear something as heavy as a bag of chainmail, which... These things are heavy. I probably shouldn't have dropped that. I like to put this on before the battle and maybe do a quick run around the dawn camp or something, just something to get me a bit prepared and warmed up in the armour. Oftentimes though, I don't get the time to do that and I just throw on my armour, I'll go and do something, realise that I need to find someone, can't find them for a really long period of time, then I realise that I have to go back to my house to get my shield, realise that my house has been kind enough to bring my shield with me, so I get into the battlefield just in time for the Dawn New Glory run. But it's fun. There is a lot more to do with armour in terms of the rules with it, but really I'm just going to go on the safety aspects of it. So this is an example of metal armour, which is very heavy. It heats up really quickly, and it's also really cold when it's cold. So if you're seriously struggling from the heat, I'd recommend that you get out of metal armour, because if you get beyond a certain point, it becomes very hard to get you out of that metal armour, especially if you can't get out yourself. I have heard tales of people who have had to literally be cut out of their armour because they got way too hot. I've also got these amazing leather greaves which someone gifted to me. Look at the pattern on it! Look at it! But the point I wanted to make about leather was that leather traps in the heat a lot more than metal. This is good for when it's really cold outside, obviously, but it can be quite bad for when it's really hot outside. Just be aware of the temperature before you put your armour on, and think about what layers you should be putting underneath or over that armour. Before you do buy any armour, make sure it fits you properly, and make sure, and this is very essential, that it's not dangerous wear armour. For that I mean, it can't have any sharp protrusions. Now let's get on to preparation. I've been told to some LARPers that my ability to get my chainmail off in one piece and in one go is impressive, so there you go. LARP weapons, as real weapons do, require maintenance. If you don't look after your weapon, it's more likely to break. LARP weapons are susceptible to breakage. Before your battle, you will be asked to make sure you get your weapon checked. This means that they have checked throughout the weapon to make sure there's no breakages, there's nothing inside it or anything wrong with it, the foam and everything is stuck to it properly, and that it's fit for use on the battlefield. No weapon that hasn't been checked should be going on the battlefield, ever. Whether that's a shield, a small sword, a long sword, a mace, a bow, an arrow, anything you can think of that's a weapon should not be going on the battlefield, unless it has been checked. It's also a good idea to check your weapons before actually getting to weapons check, because if there's something obvious you can identify, there's not much point wasting time in the queue. It's also good practice to check your weapon after the battle. It's not mandatory, but it's a good idea just to make sure that your weapon hasn't broken or anything during the battlefield. Just go a quick squeeze around the blade, quite a firm squeeze as well. Don't be too passive about it, just to make sure that you can feel the core. Nothing much harder than that, but just so you can feel that the core there, to make sure there's nothing snapped inside it. You aren't qualified to do weapons check. Make sure you go to weapons check. Even if you do check your weapon yourself, they'll give you a little band to put on your weapon to say it's been checked, and then you can go into battle. Another point I'd like to add is something that a surprisingly large number of LARPers that I've met have never done. You need to maintain your weapon. Additionally, a surprisingly large number of new players don't know you need to maintain your weapon. This helps prevent the silicone from cracking. You want to get the crossblade and the pommel of your swords. Do this for your swords, your shields, whatever weapons you have that are made of latex or silicone, just give them a quick spray. If you don't have your own spray and you're at an Empire LARP event, I have accidentally bought a bunch of it. So just come over to the Descendros camp, which are a bunch of people wearing similar colours to me, with that crest somewhere around the thing. You'll see that shield somewhere. And I'll have a stockpile of the spray for us to at least give your weapons a spray for maintenance. And if you want to, you can give some prosperity or something like that. And I'll have a stockpile of the spray for you to use anytime. Just give us a shout. You can give us prosperity if you like. It's completely free otherwise.